Hello friends, welcome back to A Dog's Life in Liechtenstein. So much has been happening over the last couple of months that it's kept Arthur and I really busy. So let's just jump in and catch up a little bit. For anyone who's been separated from their loved ones due to the worldwide pandemic, you'll understand the joy we felt when we saw our daughter and her husband get safely off their flight from America. After 3 years of separation, we could look forward to 2 weeks together. The first item on our busy agenda was Meet Arthur. For the first week of their visit, we all stayed in Bern. Of course, we all keep in good contact with each other, but there's nothing quite like sisters being able to stroll in misty woods and catch up on things face to face. Of course, while in the forest, Arthur isn't interested in chit-chat. He's only interested in sticks and cones. The first major thing we'd organized for their visit was a gin course, which took place down in the Matta. This is an old section of Bern, situated down next to the river. There is a local gin distillery down there, which is unsurprisingly called Matta, and they offer gin courses open to groups. Of course, to get us into the right mood, we had to start with a sample of their sloe gin. After our super friendly and knowledgeable instructor told us all about the process of making gin, our first task was to choose the 6 ingredients that we wanted to add to our own personal brew. The first flavor in all gins is juniper berry, and then we chose lemongrass, grains of paradise, Assam pepper, fresh rosemary, and finally some lemon and mandarin peel. Each ingredient had to be measured out very precisely to the 100th of a gram. All the ingredients were added to 80% alcohol and mixed well. Next, they were poured into the still and everything was secured tightly. Every still that's used commercially has to be registered, and can you believe the Swiss registered number of this still is 666. As the still heated up and the distillation process started, the glass collecting the output was changed each time the still's temperature increased by 1 degree. We then smelt and sampled each of the glasses and chose which tastes we wanted to include in our final product. Finally, a very precise amount of water was added and voila, we had our own custom-made gin, which, with the perfect tonic, was a very good result. Part of spending time together was sharing meals, and we took it in turns to have lunch or dinner at each of our homes at different times, such as the Sunday evening dinner where my son-in-law Chris cooked us an amazing meal. The whole 2 weeks was a wonderful opportunity for the grandchildren to spend time together and get to know the newest one in the family. One evening, we all met in Bern to have a fondue dinner at the Christmas market. The city had a wonderful atmosphere. For instance, this was a candlelight display in Parliament Square in front of Switzerland's Parliament building. But I couldn't linger and enjoy it for too long because I needed to get to the meeting point to meet the rest of the family at the Christmas market. Success! We found each other. The first thing you need to buy at a Christmas market is a hot Glühwein or orange punch. The lights and atmosphere were all Christmas magical. The two youngest members couldn't warm up with Glühwein or orange punch, but Arthur was cozy in his pullover and Ezra was snuggled into his cocoon. As usual, Arthur used the opportunity around people to make friends. Speaking of which, we bumped into some friends with their dog, so at last Arthur had someone to talk to. Then we all went into the warm, cozy chalet in the middle of the market to enjoy a fondue dinner. And even though Arthur loves cheese, this dish wasn't for him. Next on our agenda was a visit to a special little town in the French region of Switzerland for a very special request from my son-in-law Scott. But first, Arthur had to meet a local resident. The name of the town is Gruyere, and on that day it was absolutely freezing with hoarfrost thick on every tree. But we were warmly dressed, and the youngest family member was super happy, packed into his double cocoons. Gruyere is famous for two things: cheese and a museum dedicated to only one sculptor and artist, and it was Scott's request to visit that museum. Due to the time of year, the cold, and the pandemic, the town was pretty much deserted. Good for us, as we could enjoy its beauty even more than usual. After exploring the town, we met at the museum for our guided tour. Does this statue give you a clue? It's the H.R. Giger Museum. Giger was famous for an art style known as biomechanical, which mixes human physiques with machines, and was the artistic creator for the entire look of the Alien movies. After our very interesting tour, which of course I couldn't film, we went to the Giger Cafe to warm up with hot chocolate. As you can see, the entire cafe has an alien or Giger theme to it. Scott was very satisfied with the tour. Before heading home, we made a quick visit to the Gruyere cheese factory shop. Now that's a lot of cheese. In fact, cheese became a bit of a theme for Nadia and Scott's visit, and well, why not? When you haven't been home to one of the world's best cheese-making countries in over 3 years, you want to make up for lost time. So our next special evening together was for a truffle fondue. Now, to save his restaurant during the pandemic, an innovative owner came up with the unique idea of installing igloos on his terrace with its wonderful views over the city of Bern. Each heated igloo means friends or families can be safely isolated and enjoy an eating out experience together. It was like a different world up there. We started out with hot chestnuts and a cup of glühwein outside in the crisp cold air. Then we moved into our cozy little igloo. Arthur was on the floor, snuggled up next to the heater. The truffle fondue and all the side dishes were absolutely delicious. The two babies in the family both behaved very well, and towards the end of the evening deserved a snuggle. Next, the ladies managed to squeeze in one last-minute shopping trip to Bern and to enjoy soup and tiramisu at our favorite Italian restaurant. Then suddenly it was Christmas. For most people in Europe, Christmas starts on the 24th, with family meals and opening the gifts in the evening of the 24th. For us, the 24th meant to travel to Basel, because for Lies's partner Valentin, the tradition in his family is that he always meets his father in the afternoon at a nice hotel while his mother finalizes Christmas dinner for them. And for this year, they kindly asked us to join them in their tradition. Not wanting to spoil our dinners, we just ate a light lunch of steak tartare. It was such a nice hotel that even Arthur was offered a snack. How adorable is this? Between lunch and dinner time, we walked around the beautiful old area of Basel. This is one of the main bridges going over the River Rhine, the same River Rhine that runs past Liechtenstein, and you can see from our place. And there on the left, the yellow building is the hotel we've just come from. Then suddenly it was the 25th, and for us, Christmas. It's become a bit of a family tradition that my husband Rainer cooks our Christmas dinner. And this year, he opted to do something non-traditional. Ham, steamed vegetables, potatoes, and sauerkraut. Yes, I know it sounds a little strange, but it was fantastic. The dogs had to stay in their beds and out of the way for all the eating and present opening, which they found boring. Louis had his nose to the window, dreaming of walks in the forest. Actually, after our Christmas lunch, a walk was a good thing for all of us, but first we got to open our presents. Then, for the last part of the holiday, the entire family and 3 dogs relocated to Liechtenstein, where we could introduce Nadia to snowshoeing. Nadia got to experience being out in the snow again and also to see Arthur in his element. We all had plenty of time to chill and take turns to cuddle the baby. This time to be together, to perhaps play some cards, do a jigsaw, or just hang out and talk about our lives was just as precious as the meals out at restaurants, visits to special places, or even Christmas presents. They are the glue to hold a family together. The dogs also seemed to like just relaxing with us, and Louis found his favorite sleeping spot as close to the fire as possible. Here's Arthur twitching in his sleep, dreaming of snow and frisbees. We had one extra thing to celebrate between Christmas and New Year, Scott and Nadia's 19th wedding anniversary. So we took them across to the Swiss side of the Rhine to our favorite local restaurant. It was an adults only evening, but one small person couldn't be left at home without his milk bar. In between, the guys decided that had a bit too much family time and they needed to escape, so they disappeared into the Swiss Alps for a day of sledding. Looks like they had a great time. Of course, Arthur was one of the guys. Suddenly it was New Year's, and Arthur, who's new to it all, was safely put into a bedroom. Valentin spent much of his childhood in South America, so he maintains the Spanish tradition of eating a grape and making a wish on each striking of the clock at midnight. But in Switzerland, we let off fireworks, and we forgot to tell the fireworks guys to hold back for 30 seconds, so we ended up with both traditions clashing. It was both chaos and fun.
Should I film it or not? Why not?
Los cuartos.
Muy bien.
Why not? But it's...
Okay. Primer cuarto. The quarters.
Segundo cuarto.
Tercer cuarto. Tercer cuarto.
Y cuarto cuarto.
Campanadas.
Ready? First one. Make a wish.
Oh no! Oh no, it's ours! Oh my God! We had one last beautiful day of weather to enjoy the snow and snowshoeing together, and we made the most of it. was so sunny that it was actually hot. Or perhaps so the eating was catching up with us. Anyway, we made it to the top. Sadly, it was time for just one or two last selfies together. On the way down, Dean made us all laugh with his antics of learning to run on snowshoes. Then the day came, as it had to, where everyone packed up and headed to their own homes or to the airport for the long trip back to the USA. I didn't film any of that because, of course, all us women cried. It had been absolutely wonderful, but it was over, at least for this time. Well, friends, I hope you got some small enjoyment from watching our family adventures and seeing Arthur meet his American connection. If you did, please like, make sure you're subscribed, and best of all, leave a comment. See you again soon for something completely different from A Dog's Life in Liechtenstein.